This actual play is intended for mature audiences and contains themes some viewers may find upsetting. Please check each episode's show notes for specific content warnings and enjoy the show with care.
The Old Fire.
Narrate a flashback to Romulus' execution, when his final song ignited the crowd into riot with the fury of Redrigar. Romulus' silver-tongue's hands, they were bound to the vine-twined stake, driven into the ground. And the flames of the Sun Queen did lick at his thighs as the troubadours gathered to hear his last cries. My life in the songs and the silence of night will not be destroyed by her unyielding light. I shall arise with his fury and might and illuminate all who dance under my side. And the stench of his flesh burning, acrid and foul, rolls with Romulus' screams, harmonized with our howls.
Start of session. You currently have 3 active mysteries. No, you have 2 active mysteries because you resolved one last time. So the Moldering Court is no more, at least in terms of being an active mystery. However, you do still have the Whitewood active. We have a question here, that threshold question still. How do we get into the Silvercut Lodge? And you have 3 clues currently for that one. And then we have the Branch Torn Knight, which we have not visited yet. We're on the way. But you do have 2 clues towards its question of how can you prove yourself worthy to the Branch Torn Knight, which is a complexity 6. Yeah, let's check in on each of the embers at this point. Oh, actually, before we go too far, you also have 3 Lord clues. That is something we need to start paying attention to as we kind of get deeper and deeper into the campaign. Let's take a look at the embers going in reverse order of the character keeper. Fenwyn, who moves like ink and water, you have a vigil unkept. I gather you are on your way to deal with said condition, so that's great. And then you have this new condition, bloom blindness. That's intriguing. Now, normally I would ask you like what kinds of scenes do you want to have, but we're actually kind of in the middle of a journey, and so I think we'll be kind of dealing with that. I suspect if you go to the Morning Tower to do all the various Morning Tower things, you can totally do that, and you should do that. You will then be able to go do all the elegy things you want to do, like keeping this vigil and all that stuff. So I suspect most of your session is going to be spent on elegy, which is good. We haven't seen old elegy in a while. But if you have any other like moves or thoughts for your session, I'd love to hear it.
That was probably it. I think as long as the vigil happens at nighttime, I think everything else can kind of be paced out.
It's always night on elegy.
Yeah.
Basically, more or less. It's figurative night, if not literal night. Calyxe of the Verdant Crucible, you are still Herald of the Speaking Root and always will be. Oh, actually, I want to go back to Fenwyn just real briefly. Fenwyn, did you advance last time?
I did not.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. All right, so Calyxe, you are the Herald of the Speaking Root. I do want to know, did you advance last time?
I did, yes.
What'd you end up taking as your advancement?
So the move, give the land to claim my body. Give the land claim to my body.
As one does.
So I can make quick sacrifices in the land of the body parts that I have gathered from supplicants and side characters. And instead of taking them to the alcove where the sacred ash sapling is, I can bury them in the earth. I can ask the earth to respond, and I can overcome a danger. So that is the move that I have taken.
Fantastic, thank you. Let's see what else we need to check in with. Do you have any thoughts on what you'd like to do today? I mean, I know you're on the way to the Branch Torn Night. We have a journey we're going to do, of course. And I'm guessing you probably want to set up another oracle on this journey.
That would be the main reason. Yeah, absolutely.
You can reveal who it is later. But I like knowing. Is there anything else you want to do today?
I'm curious about the Branch Torn Night. Also, the Branch Torn Night has 2 countdowns on it.
Well, let's actually talk about it now. So I've made a slight change to the countdown rules. This game is still technically in development, even as of this recording. So the way it's going to go now, because I think this is more what I intended, is so long as a mystery is the newest mystery, meaning another one hasn't been introduced yet, it cannot get countdowns at all. So it doesn't matter who's traveling where, no countdowns get marked. So currently there are 0 countdown boxes marked on the Branch Torn Night. So you're in good shape there. But to answer your question, once it hits the 3rd one of your supplicants from the Morning Tower will go challenge the Branch Torn Night, and that's a problem. And then it'll happen on the 4th and the 5th box as well.
Oh.
Yes. So once it gets going, supplicants are just dying left and right. So or
Okay.
challenging the Branch Torn Night left and right.
Yes. For
So,
very personal and let's hope obvious reasons, Calyxe is very invested in solving the Branch Torn Night.
Getting this one sorted,
that's where she'll be.
yeah, it's a real problem. But happily, there are no countdowns on it yet. Unhappily, because of this rule change, it does mean that all 3 journeys that have gone on are going to apply to the Whitewood. And so the Whitewood now has 3 of its 5 boxes marked. So just keep that in mind. Makes it a little trickier on the Whitewood. Also worth noting, we will be introducing a brand new mystery today because there are only 2 active mysteries. But I will say that because you all had the intention of going on the journey, and technically we're on the journey before now, I'm going to count that as you did the journeys before this new mystery, so that the Branch Torn Night doesn't get hit with countdown. It would be a little different if we had gotten as far as completing the journeys last time, and then being at the various mysteries or doing different things. But since we're kind of still mid-journey, I think it's okay. Mid-journey. All right, so let's keep going with our check-in. Theia, the Waxing Tone, you are restrained and, quote, I still have hope. And you are currently dead set in the middle between Red Regar and Blue El Sayin. Did you advance last time?
Yeah, I have taken a new move. The song is truth.
I remember this one. Yeah. You can tell us what it does whenever you do it, because it's kind of fun. I think it'll be fun to see it in action. Fantastic. You are on your way to the Whitewood, yes?
Yes.
Great. So we have a journey to do with you. Did you have any other ideas for your scenes today, or moves you want to fire off or anything?
Yeah, if we make camp, then Theia has a conversation she used to have with herself / the moon.
Okay.
About how he's mad at her. But apart from that, yeah, I think she just wants to. She's quite keen to get up to this magic flying lodge and see what's going up there. So.
Yeah, I think especially after you get any making camp clues, if you direct them toward the Whitewood, you'll have plenty of clues to answer that question, right? You should be able to get in there. Bearing in mind that there'll be another question that comes after, so you might want to save some of your clues in reserve. But I think it's probably time to get going on that. Ash, you are marked by the Black Cortege and marked by Sir Denebray. I have an idea for your opening scene already, but I am curious. So that might change what you end up doing, but I am curious what your thoughts are for today.
Well, it depends. So I advanced and I took "And the Fallen May Rest."
That's the make camp one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So depending on if we have to make camp or not, does that just apply to me, or is it like with my other night moves, it applies to other embers as well?
Any ember in the scene gets advantage of can take advantage of that move. For viewers of the video, what it is basically the summoned spectral knights can help out at camp too and give you like clear extra conditions and things like that. So
In the scene, so I can't send one with Calyxe, for example.
no, well, I don't know. What does it say? I mean, let's read it. I hadn't really thought of that, but if it makes sense.
It says whenever you make camp, any number of summoned knights are actually squires. Each squire serving in this way can do one of the following, and then it's either mend equipment, tend wounds, or sing a song or recite poetry that is to clear emotional or spiritual conditions. And then each squire must be named after performing their service. When the dawn
They're
comes, the
ghosts.
squires
Why
are
not
gone.
send them wherever? They're ghosts. Like, like they're not bound by the laws of physical travel. If you want to
That's
send
what
them,
I figured.
you want to send them across the world, it's okay. I mean, it's no big deal. I think that's a great idea. Just a little spectral knight shows up while you're all at your various camp locations. It sounds like the very first thing you're going to do then is probably try to do your core move, right?
Yes, it would. I need to remember too, so I'm trying to do it early.
Okay. Fantastic. I think that's it then for the character check-in, unless there's anything else. Go ahead and mark new end of session questions if you wish. We do have our start of session move. You're gonna have the same mission from the Wolf King as last time, Theia, which is to destroy the tree that is beloved of Gilvin the Vine Twined and the Sun. Cannily referenced in your song, which I loved, by the way. New mystery. There are fewer than 3 active mysteries. We'll introduce a brand new one. Our new mystery is called the Umberslade. During your travels, you see great wooden spires that crown the horizon, luring your attention into the far reaches of the great forest. As you trek towards them, the trees become thick and gnarled, their roots buckled in the ground, carpeted by an ancient moss that grows in endless sigils and symbols, which seems to clutch a new breed of darkness to it. You have heard stories of this place. This was once the Hinterglade, a favored haunt of the Fae, a paradise, providing haven for all the ethereal creatures the forest harbored. The trees here were lovingly tended to by shepherds, unseen figures bound by some ancient and sacred oath to serve the Hinterglade. Then came the Dimning. In the shadow of the old fire, the Fae abandoned their paradise. Life turned to ash in the hearts of the trees, and that most sacred of oaths faded from the shepherd's memory. But it is clear to you now that they lived on. Whisperings tell you that, oathless, the shepherds continued to tend the timber husks and hollow bark. They warped the lifeless wood into dead monoliths and twisted the hapless fauna into brutal servants. When the vaulting branches finally choked out the remnants of sunlight, the Hinterglade withered and died, and the Umberslade took its namestead. Now those that dare tread here do not return the same, if at all. Some say in their sorrow, the shepherds began grafting parts of themselves to the wood, a dark memorial to what they'd lost. Others say it is in anger that they forged themselves to the forest, creating malignant, broken monstrosities to keep all mortals at bay. For all the tales, one thing is certain. The Umberslade grows, day by day. Higher and higher, the contorted trees become grim, leafless ziggurats that reach into the sky, clawing their way up to a god that does not answer. You must discover the true purpose of the shepherds and confront them with the very oath they have forgotten at the heart of the Umberslade. Which leads to your question. What lost oath keeps the shepherds tethered to the Umberslade? It's a complexity 8. Opportunity. Resolve this mystery by finding the heart of the Umberslade and engaging in a struggle against the shepherds. There's a countdown here as well. It is a countdown of 3. And what do I want to tell you about it? I'm going to keep it a secret for now. It's not great. So I think that's good enough. So that is your new active mystery, the Umber Slade. Now, with the new rule, or the adjusted rule, slightly adjusted rule, there's no rush to get to the Umber Slade, because there's not going to be a new mystery for a minute, because you have 3 active ones and none of them are close to being resolved. So just know that the Umber Slade is waiting. There's no rush to get to it. With all that said, let's just dive in. So when we last saw you, Fenwyn, you were taking that slow, dreary, still water journey across the fog-shrouded sea to Elegiac. I do want to know, before we get too far, before you actually arrive at the island, do you intend to make camp on the boat?
No, because am I right in thinking that the vigil is a make camp?
I thought it might be, but I actually have an idea for like a full sequence of scenes for it. So if you want to make camp now, you can.
That will force everyone else into making camp, correct?
Yes, but if some of them are already making camp anyway, it might be worth doing. We can check in now. I mean, like, Theia, are you intending to make camp at the castle at Castle Bregan?
I think so, if Ash will forgive me.
So yeah, so it looks like camp might be happening. In which case, I don't even have to. It's definitely happening, so we don't have to ask everybody else. Everyone's going to do it. At least those of you on journeys are going to be safe. Maybe not so much for Ash. Okay, so be thinking about your camp scene. In order to get the benefit of make camp, you have to do one of your rituals or your ritual. So be thinking what that looks like, Fenwyn. Theia, to reach the Whitewood, you go by way of the ruins of Castle Bregan, as we have seen before. It is as previously described, this nice, defensible place, despite its kind of crumbled nature. I will say that in your journey, Theia, now that you've met Lady Verdant and are more aware of the Emerald Knights that patrol these woods, you will start to see evidence of them and their passage, maybe things that you might not have observed before. But let's paint the scene, everyone. What evidence does Theia see on her journey that shows that the Emerald Knights patrol these woods?
There are... Ribbons sounds a bit too fancy and beautiful for what they are. Scraps of fabric tied around the branches of certain trees, as though to send messages by some code that Theia couldn't understand to other patrols. But what's interesting is that some of them have been there so long, the trees have grown and swallowed them, and now it seems as though these scraps are growing from them, like tendrils or leaves.
Through the forest, there are roads, used by fauna, but used by man as well. And on the side of this mud-churned road that Theia is on is a shrine. Just a small, little thing. But on it there are wood carvings of dragons, emerald-coloured stones left around. A candle burns, like the fire that would burn in the heart of a dragon. All left, and you can see the indents of the knees that have knelt there and prayed before moving on, as if their prayers were eaten by the woods themselves.
The boots of the Emerald Knights form a peculiar shape. They do not land into the muck. They tread softly, as if hardly making an impression. But when they do, it is not a heel and a foot they have carved into the base. Talons as if from a dragon, they spread out four-fingered into the earth, almost mimicking the creature to which they are bound.
I think you would see at various spots in this wood where the knights have stopped to make camp, there would be parts of trees cut away in very particular downward motions, and it's the point at which the knights have stopped but have remained on guard and remained eager to keep their fighting skills sharp and on point and continue to thrust and parry and riposte against these wooden tree dummies. But also they use trees for target practice, and if you look, you will see tight groupings where the arrows have thudded into the bark, but they have left always in each tree one arrow with a very particular fletching of greenish yellow membrane rather than feathers.
Something interesting you'll observe, Theia, in your travels alone through the Great Forest, is we have this tension. On the one hand, you have this great vitality. There's the forest, there's whatever is left of the Fae and their magic, and importantly, this incredibly ancient, powerful dragon, even though Noxiliax has changed since the time of the Old Fire, even though Noxiliax is hiding in its lair, it's still a creature whose very existence in the world radiates power, right? And you'll observe this tension between that power and the dimming as you're moving through the Great Forest. For example, in your journeys before reaching Castle Braken, you'll spend the night in a patch of forest that grows incredibly lush. You can watch it growing as you set down for camp. You can see it in real time, flowers blooming, trees becoming more vivid green, almost like a time-lapse video, right? And then the next morning, it's all fallen to rot. It's this push and pull, right? Eventually, though, you do make it to Castle Braken. And we have seen in flashback the story of Castle Braken, this last stand, one of the last stands during the time of the Old Fire. In this case, a castle being overcome by a species called the Malgaunt. We have not seen the Malgaunt in contemporary times. Who knows if they're still around? But we've seen some of that story, and now we're going to tell the next part of that story. In turn, each of you please narrate a flashback to the evening before the battle with the Malgaunt. How do the men and women of Castle Braken find comfort and courage in each other here at the end of all things?
There's a small group, probably a family or what's left of a family, huddled in a corner of Castle Braken. And their faces are dimly lit by flickering fire, over which hangs a thick cast iron pot in which they are about to eat what they all suspect to be their last ever meal. It is a grim stew, barely even qualifies as gruel. It's got a knuckle of mutton in the bottom that's been boiled probably 5 or 6 times already, a handful of pearl barley and some parsley stalks that have also been in the pot for at least a week. It's flavorless, but it's warm, and it's all this family has. And they cup their bowls with meager portions, keeping their hands warm and their spirits barely flickering, and they sit and sip their stew in total silence until the youngest, perhaps spotting an opportunity for a bit of levity, just says, "Could you use a little salt?" And they crack a smile. Not much of one, but there's something there. There's something still alive.
There is a pair, young, no older than 14. And they have in their hands a pair of sticks, and they try to mimic against a backdrop of the stone walls of Castle Bregan the footwork of the soldiers that they've seen practicing the afternoon before. They go back and forth, and then they hear booted metal footfalls as a woman approaches them. Her armor is cleaned and cared for, and she looks at the two. She fixes the hands of one of them to grip the little stick tighter. She demonstrates the proper footwork like this, like so, and then forward and back, step back, block the overhand. She looks at them as they take in her instructions, and she smiles a bit, knowing that at least they will not go screaming like many of the others. If they must go at all, they will go fighting, and that is worthwhile.
There is a chaplain, small and in one of the unused stone rooms that barely has any gatherers, even at the best parts of the year, but now it is full, flooded with people, desperate, weeping, crying, hungry, starving. The head of the chaplain is a sister of sunlight, and while she tries to find the words to calm, to soothe, she can't quite. She's gone to the archives. There was a time like this before. Castle Bregan has always stood. Maybe there is something she can say, a story she can regale that will alleviate, that will help. And her eyes find something. And the despair that is roiling in the pit of her stomach stops. She takes the book. And before she knows it, her feet have carried her up onto the parapets, where the guard, most of them are cowering, most of them are scared as they are faced with a sea of rock gaunts that crashes and gnarls and screams endlessly beyond the wall. The captain of the guard, she looks out onto the sea and barely registers as the chaplain approaches. I have found something. Words. Words from the last time that Castle Bregan faced this, an aeon ago, when the Sun Queen reigned. Still. And I thought, it may bring you some comfort. It may bring us all some comfort. But I fear you may need it most. The captain of the guard then had addressed his men. And this is what he said. Let the shadows come. Let night sodden the fields. Let the darkness fall. But we of Castle Bregan do not yield. Kiss your children good night. Tell your love how you feel. Hold them close one last time. For we of Castle Bregan do not yield. Bear up your blades. Render your heart to steel. Join your brothers, your sisters, for we of Castle Bregan do not yield. Bury your fear. Raise your voice. Raise your shields. For the last time, we rise. For we of Castle Bregan. And the captain, who has not always seen eye to eye with the church, who has not always seen the teachings of the Sun Queen as something to be listened to, nods. And to the boys on the wall, to the girls on the wall, to the old men, the old women, anybody who is fit to hold a sword, he roars to them. She roars to them. For we of Castle Bregan do not yield.
Cheers and roars from the guard above are muffled down here, where children play with sticks and families eat their last meal. Everything is muffled here, soft. The end of everything could quite reasonably cause tempers to flare, tensions to tighten, old wounds to reopen, and yet, if one were to look around this keep, they might see a mother squeeze her adult daughter's hand and whisper the words, "I'm sorry." They might see two ex-lovers exchanging a gentle nod and a smile over a long-forgotten joke. They might see a group of friends who haven't laughed together or broken bread in a very long time, reminiscing about the good days. Rather than tensions and fear and anger, Castle Bregan is filled with forgiveness.
Fantastic. Thank you all. Book of Songs and Poetry, Lands Remaining Kickstarter stretch goal. I think has to happen at some point. I'm forecasting into the future. Ash. Calyxe leaves you. And so it's just you and Malin and Rowan leading the former white sap addicted undead back to the commune. It is perhaps a bit of a slow journey because they're all still a little out of it, and maybe they don't move as quickly as they ought. Alexi is just a complete diva and is really, really annoying and makes it difficult to do anything in an expeditious way. Always having to stop whenever the fog clears just enough to let the sun in so that he can feel it on his withered skin. In your short but quite slow journey back to the commune, you'll actually see something that stands out and above. You'll remember the Luminians well enough from the time of the Old Fire. They were rare in the time of the Old Fire, but they were around. They could be seen. They could be encountered. And you see a Luminian in the woods, walking between the whitewood birches. They stand out even more from the whitewood birches because they have vivid blue skin. They're also quite tall. They're a runty Luminian is still 10 feet tall, right? They're very tall. They're very spindly. They look a lot like Na'vi from Avatar, except they have wolf or canine-like faces and white hair. But you see this Luminian kind of casually, I would even say with kind of a slumped posture, kind of stalking, or not stalking, but just walking through, unmissable. What do you do?
I raise my arm to bring my party to a stop. Hold here. And Ash takes a few steps, not to disguise himself in any way. They are hunters. It would be unwise to try and conceal myself. And so he goes, I wouldn't expect you to be lost. But you're somewhere near, perhaps you shouldn't be.
This Luminian turns to you. Doesn't seem particularly surprised or even concerned to see you. She has all the usual hallmarks of Luminian heritage, but I would say that they seem a little more dull than you recall. Her flowing white tresses have fallen limp. Her large moonstone eyes have dimmed to a cool, lusterless gray. Cobalt skin that perhaps once glistened under moonlight is very dull, very matte and flat. She says, Leave me be. Leave me to my wretchedness.
Ash does not. Are you unwell?
Yes, unwell. The leaden venom of your lands has seeped into my very bones. Show me some sliver of decency and let me not suffer your inquiry any longer.
Forgive me, I mentioned harm.
I offer my own apologies. I did not mean to snap.
I am of the Nameless. I'm called Ash.
I remember the Nameless Legion. My people in our travels, we would sometimes observe the wars that you were conscripted to.
Are you the one... perhaps I should ask Malin, actually. You haven't been following me.
I don't think Malin and Rowan can be seen right now, but Malin will answer for her with a sensation of cold, meaning no. She says, my people stalk this glade, so possibly, though we are more concerned with the undead. Although I suppose you are also undead in your way.
In my way, perhaps. But why are you here without your people?
Go ahead and make the information move. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just why don't you?
Yeah. Go ahead and make the information move with. I think it's gonna be presence. Do you have any mark senders? I don't think you do yet, do you?
No.
It's gonna be with presence, and your conditions don't apply. So.
Okay. Presence. That is 7. Can I increase that to a 10 plus?
You can. Do you want to hear the complication first? Or?
Sure.
The complication is you'll get your clue, but the complication is you will be called away back to the clutch of white sap drinkers because they're under attack by someone else. Or they're not under attack. They've encountered someone else, we'll say.
I will actually like the complication is the problem.
I'm doing my job.
This is my problem. I'll keep the 7.
You can chat with her for a little bit, and she will identify herself as her name is Ryenya. And she'll explain to you at a basic level that their people are in trouble. she doesn't really understand the precise nature of it. It has something to do with their sleeping prince, the Lumen Prince, who is being roused, and this is a big problem. Though it's far above her pay grade to understand the precise nature of it. She is a former hunter, and she is part of the group of hunters, the Silvercut company that has been grabbing the undead, but she does not know for what purpose. Only that it's connected somehow to their Lumen Prince. Being down here, with the world as it is, during the dimning, maybe even enhanced perhaps by these whitewood trees, which seem to have their own bloody sentience, is draining them. It makes them physically ill. She is physically ill. And she'll straight up tell you, I've been cast out from the lodge. They're concerned that my sickness will spread.
And if there was a way to cure you of this, then you would be able to be among your people.
Yes, I suppose. But the most important thing is to calm the Lumen Prince. Do you smell that? And her kind of canid nostrils can probably smell a lot better than yours, but you can smell what she's smelling. It's an unusual smell. The smell of quicksilver. I don't know what it is, but I know it's connected to the Lumen Prince, and that smell is growing stronger and stronger. This is your clue that you're entitled to. A powerful smell of quicksilver in the area. Whatever that means. I'm not even sure quicksilver has an odor. And then the problem. Alexei, you can hear him creeping up. He says, "We have a visitor. And I don't really know what to do about it. Since you've sort of taken control of the situation heretofore, maybe you can address this matter?"
Oh, I sure. Lead the way. I think he turns back to Rayenya.
Mm-hmm.
He turns back to Rayenya. Well, should our paths cross again, I would like to talk more about your people.
She nods and gives you a kind of traditional Luminian salute. When you get back to the company of undead, they are there with a man who is wearing like black velvet breeches and coat and waistcoat and frilly lace cuffs and a white powdered wig, and he's very pale and very gaunt. And he says, "Oh, are you the leader of this little gathering?"
I am of the Nameless, and you are?
"I am called Nocturnus. It is so fine to meet you." And he takes a quite dramatic bow. And we'll come back to this. Calyxe, you're journeying through a different part of the Great Forest to reach rumors of the Branch-Torn Knight and his game. You will also see in your travels this strange tension between the incredible roiling vitality of Noxiliacs and the dampening power of the Dimning. You will come upon something very unusual. There are not many animals left in the lands remaining. Some species of animal are gone altogether, rabbits. And yet, you occasionally come upon animals that have been abandoned by their mothers. These poor animals, born with vestigial scales, fox kits with glassy green eyes, moles breathing green vapors. It's like Noxiliax's vitality is running rampant and the dimming in some cruel joke is causing it to affect the young of the forest. You will eventually make your way to the site. Our new journey, the Three Faces. You stand in the shadow of a towering landmark, a titanic pillar carved from strange inky black stone depicting three faces, one pointing east, one pointing west, one pointing south. You remember the three faces. It was one of the world's great mysteries, even during the time of the Old Fire. No one knows who carved it. What do the three faces stand for? Is it a place of power? No one's ever been able to say. It's existed for thousands of years. And we are going to mark our first box on this journey. Up close, you can see that the faces are each slightly different, carved in aspects that suggest anger, mercy, even a profound emptiness. Just you, Calyxe, because you're on this journey. Anger, mercy, or profound emptiness, which do you feel as one of the faces stares down at you, and why?
It's interesting. She fully expects the face of anger to turn to her. She is used to anger. So much of the world before the Dimning didn't understand the Crucible, the druids themselves. Anger is what met her. Still does. For in those eyes, she might be mistaken, but she could swear they look just like the mouses. So much anger hidden behind a visage of calm. She did not expect the face of mercy to look down upon her. Mercy, thinly veiled pity. The wolf is in those eyes. She can see it. But what she deeply did not expect, and the eyes that look down at her, are those of the profound emptiness of ash. Why? Why would Ash's eyes haunt her here? Why would the profound emptiness? It makes no sense. Calyxe has purpose. Calyxe knows her purpose. Calyxe has been resolute in her purpose since she crawled out of the grave. Before that, before the Dimning, she has never once questioned. But that's a lie, isn't it? She has questioned. Is that the question that sits on her now? Is that why the eyes of emptiness look so deeply into her soul? If she had a soul, maybe. What is the emptiness that Ash sees? There is a moment, a memory, and it flickers. Her hand traces down her side, and she feels the scar left by Nerid. Her hand moves across her belly, and she feels another scar. Yes, there was a time. of profound emptiness. But she filled that void. She filled it like dirt in a grave. Didn't she? Ash's eyes do not answer her.
Fenwyn, are you going to do your ritual on Pale Crossing?
Yeah, I think we find Fenwyn once again perched weightlessly on the prow of Pale Crossing, watching over the still waters as it stretches out. His visibility is clouded not only by the fog-shrouded sea that he crosses, but also the pinkish yellow hues that are starting to swirl a kaleidoscopic mirage across his eyes. He is losing his sight, but the Watcher remains still. And he is watching, using all his other senses, over another person who is asleep in the boat. It is Periwinkle, who is heading back to the Morning Tower. And he is watching over Periwinkle because there is a sense of duty that stirs in Fenwyn. It's what he always falls back on. And he is starting to remember who Periwinkle reminds him of, one of the other initiates of the Crystal Door. One all too eager to please for Fenwyn's liking. Someone willing to wager the most on Fenwyn's antics and exploits. All too keen to follow Fenwyn into danger. And was the first of Fenwyn's compatriots he saw die. Grist for the mill of the war machine. And he feels somewhat protective, looking over Periwinkle now.
Which of your conditions are you going to clear, or which aspect are you going to unmark?
I'm certainly not going to clear a condition. I'm going to clear one of my aspects of the mouse in the tower. The tiny pause between inhale and strike.
Oh, interesting. I'm curious, like, what the connection is to the scene.
I mean, the whole thing about the initiates and it being tied back to the story and his training and everything. He's just kind of like going through it now.
Mm-hmm. You get to also come up with a clue for one of the active mysteries. So be thinking of what that is.
Well, I've got the how of the clue. But because I have not taken part in any of the mysteries so far, I was going to throw it open to the table.
Okay, yeah.
I think the how of the clue is that Periwinkle is singing in his sleep.
Oh,
and Periwinkle is singing a song that's connected in some way to the Branch Torn Knight. Over to you.
Be thinking on it, group. I want to check in with Theia. Theia, are you going to make camp here at the ruins of Kesselbriggen?
Yeah, Theia finds a comfortable-looking patch of rubble to kind of lounge on so that she can be looking up at the red light of Ragar above her. Don't be angry with me. I know, revenge must be had, and revenge will be had. But I must look out for the well-being of Elsain. He's younger than you. Do you remember when you were the only one who hung in the sky? Do you remember how Romulo and I would steal away from the court to that hill that overlooked the city and pass the night in joyful worship bathed in your light? Do you remember how I would cry when the sun began to rise and you began to fade? and he would sing to me to soothe my tears. I remembered the song, it came back to me. May the edge of my words, a finely honed blade, sink into your heart as I whisper. May the weapons you wield remain ever steady to strike at my foe when I call. May my voice reach you in dreams and in waking, breathe me with your every song. For I have no power without you, my love. I have no power at all. I wish I could remember what it means, but perhaps I never knew.
Fantastic, thank you. Which, are you going to clear a condition or unmark an aspect?
I'd like to unmark an aspect on the Wolf King's coda, my knife. Never fails to find its mark deep in the chest of the most dangerous foe.
I like it, since you were communicating so directly there with Red Regard. And you also get to define a clue for one of the active mysteries.
With the white wood, I know we first have to find out how to reach the lodge.
Indeed,
is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
I see that that's a complexity 2, and then we already have 4 clues. So are any that we don't use, do they like carry over?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not like, I just want to check I wasn't like wasting by adding one to.
No,
okay,
yeah.
I think I might have to think about it, but I'll think of one for the whitewood. That's right.
Yes, I am called Nocturnus of the Black Cortege. Now, can you possibly imagine how I susurrate with joy, having tracked one undead abomination, and then found a whole conclave of them. Isn't that wonderful? Tee.
I think Ash just says Nemos, and I'm going to use that to summon knights, please.
Yes, you can go ahead and make your roll.
Okay, that's an 8. And then how many? 2. 1 must be named immediately, so I get 1 technically.
Indeed. Very good. You can name the one here in a moment. Nocturnus of the Black Cortege says,
Now I'm afraid I must get down to our terrible business.
and he takes a knife and slashes his palm, and there's a spray of blood, but the blood stops in midair, and the splash of blood stretches and changes into black tendrils that immediately seize on to everyone in the White Sap Drinker party, including Alexi. These black tendrils, you can see Nocturnus pulling the life force out of them. Whatever causes them to be undead, he is trying to yank it all out. That's what you have to deal with right now. What do you do?
God. Ash immediately draws Name Taker. And again, there is the soft chorus of repeating names. And seeing how pompous this person is in front of him, he draws Name Taker up. Your name, once more, just so I recall it.
I am Nocturnus.
Nocturnus.
Nocturnus of the Black Cortege.
It leaves his mouth and rings around Name Taker as it hums and sings. And he's going to attack.
And That's fantastic. This is going to be the dark move. You're going to be at disadvantage because of marked by the Black Cortege, but sounds like you're marking an aspect on Name Taker.
Yes. The blade hums low, a chorus of quiet voices repeating the names inscribed upon it.
What are you trying to accomplish here?
I would like Name Taker to essentially swallow his name and voice and become a heat-seeking blade towards his throat.
Very good. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I am afraid that I am going to lose the white sap drinkers to whatever these tendrils are.
Oh, it's worse than that. He is going to then use the sort of like power that he's like ripped from them as a weapon against you. This is going to be with vitality. It's a 2d6 plus 2. It's not a bad roll.
No, why would you say that? Because I got a 3.
And your one spectral knight won't even help you there.
No, it won't. Oh my god.
It is not great.
No.
You, Alexi, the other white sap drinkers, they just like cry out like there's this like terrible wail as whatever's left of their eyes begin to like kind of like bulge out of their sockets. Alexi, his little blonde ringlets are, kind of like flying behind him as he just sort of goes, Gah! And Nocturnus just like almost like pulling a lasso, just like yanks these like black cords, and you just see like something get ripped out of them and they all just collapse to the ground.
Back to the grave where you belong.
And then he hurls this like bolt of black energy at you. It goes flying and it explodes around you in a swirl, a column of dark flame. You get to another roll to resist that.
Great.
But if you don't bump up with the old fire, or if you don't stoke the fire, they're dead.
I'm stoking the fire.
Okay. That will put your roll up to a middle result. The complication is that everything is as I've described it. You do go in. You go in to stab him. You can describe that part for me. What does it look like when you kill him?
The Name Taker, as Ash wields it, the song, the chorus of names, Old Gore and the ones that came before, all ring and sing, and almost as if his hand is being guided again by forces beyond himself, it drives forward and his feet move so quickly. He is standing and then he is in front of Nocturnus, the blade thrust through his throat.
I think the complication is simply going to be this. Nocturnus's blood, you stab him, and again there's this spray of red blood, but it changes into a little black tendril that squirms down inside your mouth, down your throat, and you can feel that black tendril wrapped around your heart. And I'm going to give you the condition, Nocturne Heart. But otherwise, he's gone. Fenwyn. Morning Tower has to be your first stop per the rules. You can then go do elegy stuff after the Morning Tower. When you get inside, I think as you're walking through the big, large double doors, Periwinkle says, "Why did Sir Denebray send me here? It's so gloomy. Who's that big dead man?" Talking about the pallbearer. which they haven't cleared up yet. At least there's candles, I suppose. Not the best light, but I suppose I'll make do.
Fenwyn, perhaps through a shit-eating grin, says, "You'll be safer in the gloom."
I think, there's the two sisters, the two nuns that work there. Sister Shayna, the younger one, she takes his kind of rot-bloomed hand and says, "Fear not. I have something that you're going to love. It'll brighten your mood in this place. Come with me." And she almost like giddily drags Periwinkle off to deeper in the morning tower, leaving you with Sister Nor, the more dour, older nun. And she's kind of, she says, "So, how are things in the lands?"
A little more event-filled than here, I shall say.
I think as maybe you're walking side by side with her, you come across the body of the pallbearer still there in the sort of entry chamber of the morning tower, this sort of central, when you walk in at the bottom. She kind of looks at him and she says, "The pallbearer fulfilled his charge longer than any of us had a right to expect. His vigilance kept this place from collapsing into chaos. In truth, you and your fellow embers did not slay a monster. You relieved a burden that had gone on too long. So what burden do you bear, Fenwyn, who moves like ink in water?"
I too must bear the burden of a vigil of an order that graced this island long ago. I must see it done.
Yes, I believe you will. Before you head back out into the gloom, though, perhaps you will help us remember the world that was, and pray at one of our shrines.
Not ordinarily a man of superstition, but I feel the spirit move me, sister.
You are perhaps not a man of superstition, but you are a man of ritual. You are an adherent of the crystal door, are you not? You have your little story of the mouse in the tower.
Your eyes see much, which is more than I can say for myself.
Well, little mouse, let us climb this tower, shall we?
Lead the way.
She takes you up a set of stairs. A set of stairs that she identifies as the stairs of sorrow. They coil upward through the tower's interior, a spiraling ascent of stone steps polished smooth by countless feet and knees. The walls are close in the stairway, carved with shallow reliefs of bent figures, their features eroded into anonymity. Melted wax drips down the inner curve of the stair like pale tears, collecting in gutters worn deep over centuries. You'll recall from last time that the Morning Tower wasn't always the Morning Tower. It's actually fairly recently the Morning Tower. It's been many, many other things in the past. Let's paint the scene, everyone. The Stairs of Sorrow have carried prisoners, pilgrims, and embers alike. What mark or alteration reveals who once climbed them willingly and who was forced to ascend in grief, fear, or chains?
There is a banister that winds its way around. It is wooden, and in this place, wood rots so quickly, and it has been replaced and replaced again in piecemeal, some of it older, some newer. From various trees around Elegiac, you can see differences in the colors of the wood, always repairing just what needs to be replaced and nothing more. No more work needs to be done, because it will always come again.
as the light catches the edges of the stairs, you can detect a subtle discoloration of the stone. It's like a deep maroon or brown, and it's stained with the blood of a flagellant who would make their dreary ascent, flailing their own back with a barbed whip every third step, and the blood as it dripped, changing the colour of this stone forever.
As you ascend along the walls of this step, there is scrawled text which makes no sense at all when read as a phrase. It must be read in full, all the way up, and it has been scrawled over and over and over again, exactly the same place, exactly the same handwriting, until the stone itself has been forever marked with this strange passage, lichen and moss growing inside to make it stand out in a relief, as though nature itself has placed a spell here, only invocable by those who can walk all the way to the top, reciting it in a single breath.
At the very bottom of the stairs, hung from the wall, is a lantern. It contains one single candle. Everyone that walks the stairs must light the candle and must reach the top before it burns out, lest they continue their endless climb in complete darkness. But the lantern was not designed to give them hope. The lantern was not made to let them see. It was another part of the tower's torture, so that they could watch as their time ran out, as the stairs that never seemed to end became darker and dimmer, as the light grew dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, as the wax dripped from the lantern and leaves a trail all the way up, just to about halfway. And then the wax stops. And what became of those that had to climb? Well, the darkness knows.
Sister Noor leads you to a shrine. This shrine is actually in the stairway, because there are alcoves in the stairway periodically. This is the Shrine of Futility. First things first, you have to mark a cinder. Fenwyn, which one do you mark?
The serpent's breath. Every danger has a silent moment.
Intriguing. The Shrine of Futility. Elgareth the Archwizard was a beacon of power and wisdom, feared and revered in equal measure. From the heights of his silver tower, he read the movements of stars, storms, seasons, and was among the first of the learned to sense the dimning's slow approach. By praying at this shrine, you recall the final days of Elgareth's vigil, when many believed he alone could hold back the end. I'll remind you all that you must interpret this shrine through the lens of Fenwyn's cinder. Every danger has a silent moment. Feels appropriate. Wren, Elgareth ascends to the tower's peak. Please narrate a flashback showing how he first perceives the dimning's approach. What sign convinces him that the world stands at the brink and that he must act?
Elgareth would deny by any means that he is old, but still he must aid himself up the tower, up each long step towards its peak. He denies the need for any assistance, magical or otherwise. He himself is strong enough. As he makes it through, the door does not creak. He fixed that long ago. It eases open, And standing in the center at this tower's peak is a grand orrery. It maps the constellations, it maps the movements of all the heavenly bodies. And he has seen it every day, and he knows it well, the movements. He can tell months in advance when a mild breeze would become a storm. And so, without even looking truly at it, he goes past, easing his way towards his desk, upon which sits a mountain of papers, requests from hither and thither to do something for someone. Please, will you guarantee my child's ascendance into some grand nobility? Will you protect us from the oncoming season? The winter should be harsh. It will not be. He has already seen it. And then he realizes he has seen the grand orrery every day, and he knows the sounds of its ticks, its movements, the little clicks and grinds that it makes, things that he considers fixing, but has grown to appreciate. And it has stilled. It stops ticking. It stops grinding. It stops doing anything. And he turns. And it's almost as if in his periphery, quickly and without warning, as if something blocks the light coming in through the window, a shadow passes across and then moves away. It covers all of the heavenly bodies, the very earth itself, slipping over as if a cloth drawn. And then the astrolabe up above the orrery ticks, and the orrery itself moves again, slower. Almost could be confused with the trick of the light, but Elgareth cannot take his eyes away. His eyes have seen much, and he knows something grave is about to happen.
The wizard prepares his defense. Narrator flashback showing Elgareth gathering power, rituals, sigils, storms, or strange energies to turn back the dimning. What awe or terror do his followers feel as they watch him work? Elgareth, old as he is, moves about the orrery with an alarming speed. There is something about the way the light stopped that worries him greatly. This cloth being drawn over the earth as if a little death is coming. 1,000 little deaths. That's what this is. How does one fight 1,000 little deaths? You cannot send men with swords. You cannot ask them to build great trebuchets to batter it. Not even a dragon could stop this. Nothing of power, nothing of might. No, the strength to maybe battle this, to defend against this. It must be of the same ilk, the same nature. Death must fight death. And where does one find death in nature? Where is the most powerful of it? It's in the eye of the storm. It's in the center of the vortex. It's the aeon-long birth of a mountain. It is the flow of a glacier. It is the moment a star blinks out of existence. It is when the moon moves across the sun. That is what he must harness. These are the places he goes. An old man riding for his life, running to the tops of mountains, to the center of storms, to gather everything he can, the power of these natures. When he returns to the Silver Tower, his work is to combine them into one almighty smothering so that the dimning may die. And he works tirelessly, and the apprentices that bring him his food, that slot the trays under the door, or who even dare to enter the orrery room itself to check on him, do not recognize the great teacher, the archmage that is before them. Before he was great and powerful, now stern and terrible. He is messing with matters he does not understand, attempting to condense great masses of nature, powers into something that could fit in the palm of a hand. This is dangerous work. This is against everything they have ever been taught. They must trust in the Archmage. They must. But they do not want to.
The Dimning arrives. Michelle, please narrate a flashback showing how Elgareth's great magic meets the Dimning's force. What moment reveals that even his strength, brilliant and terrible as it is, cannot halt what is coming?
From the great telescope in the orrery room, Elgareth watches those 1,000 little deaths approach. They've been able to hear it for days now. Screaming, rending of limbs, gnashing of teeth. This is not 1,000 deaths, but 1,000,000. And now it is upon them. And just as the apprentices are sure it is too late, they have reached the tower, that horrible, hideous sound halts. And the Dimning is frozen in the eye of a storm, in the slide of a glacier, in the birth of a mountain. It is stilled. Nelgaroth smiles, knowing he has done it. He has stopped this terrible thing. He has trapped it within this silence. As he smiles, he feels the papery skin of his aged face sliding into the deep dimples, and he hears it. And he realizes that silence holds 1,000 little sounds. To live is to know 1,000 little deaths. And this is not 1,000 little deaths, but one all-encompassing one. And as he realizes that, the silence becomes more deafening than the screams ever could be.
Finally, Matt, please narrate Elgareth's end. How does the Dimning claim him, and what becomes of his silver tower when his last spell falters?
Elgareth had only managed to stall for a matter of seconds. Everything that was leading up to this moment, this wall of sound that had approached through the valley, the thousands of voices crying out in anguish, they were just the deep breath before the plunge. And now there is the lack, the absence of life, of sound. And Elgareth finds himself floating in this void, this abyss. And he sees and feels the bones in his arms bend back and snap. He can't quite work out whether not being able to hear it is a comfort or not. And he sees all his apprentices floating upwards, being buckled, bent, and then dropped to the floor of the valley in crumpled, silent heaps. The last thing Elgareth remembers is when the sound does return. And by which time it's too late. The orrery starts to slowly rotate, grind. And that door he swears he fixed starts to creak. And then Elgareth, and the Silver Tower, and the whole valley turn to dust.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, everyone. You get rewards for completing this Shrine of Remembrance. Fenwyn, since you marked Cinder, you get a new piece of equipment, a magic item. The Staff of Elgareth. A walking staff made of gnarled wood, shot through with veins of silver, gold, iron, and glass. It can raise a magical barrier, call down lightning, and turn its wielder invisible for a short time.
I cast Fireball.
Indeed. That's the one thing it can't do. It can do almost everything else. Fantastic. So you get that. Everybody else, you get a reward as well. All other embers add an aspect to one of their relics inspired by something from the remembrance. So you recall that each of your relics has some blank lines that you can add an aspect to it. It can be anything that is salient to you from the story of Elgareth and the last stand against the Dimning. It can be something implied or something explicit. It can be just an idea. It can be something physical, literal, like, kind of forged to your item. It's up to you. You can also ask another Ember or another player to help you out or to give you an idea if you wish.
Just because it's echoes of the between, someone needs to take a bit of the orrery.
Yeah, I think probably so. Yeah.
This is why I put it there.
Do you want to have an orrery-related aspect, Ash?
Yes. I think I can... something about predicting a coming storm. Give me a minute.
Yeah, and if anybody has any thoughts, please jump in.
Could like a part of like the celestial mapping on a part of the orrery now be part of your armor, perhaps?
I like that,
Or
like engraved on the Val plate or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that could work.
That's pretty good. Like maybe you could call the aspect like Elgareth's star chart or something like that. Right.
Yeah, that's cool.
I might add an aspect to Harrow the Martyr Catcher along the lines of the strength of the birth of a mountain. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or could that be a thing?
Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah.
Beautiful.
As long as it was valent to you.
Yes.
Theia?
I wonder if I could add an aspect to the red Gittern. Something along the lines of, I don't know how to articulate this. You know the end of a piece of music when that final chord is hanging in the air and there's that hold, that silence?
Yeah.
And maybe like the final chord of a piece played on it can hold a foe still for a moment.
I love that. You should write it just like that. Yeah.
Great.
I like how everyone got like kind of these interesting philosophical statements or kind of interesting ambient powers, and Matt got a big magic staff that calls down lightning. It does all the wizard things except for fireball.
I believe this is called multi-classing.
Indeed it is, yes. You are now a thief wizard, a wizard thief. Theia, are you going to do your ritual underneath the gaze of the three faces in order to get the make camp benefits?
Calyxe.
I'm so sorry. Calyxe, are you going to be... everything I said but Calyxe.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she might tell a story, and I think she might be talking to the faces. I think maybe a bit of the sap still lingers in her blood. And the eyes seem to follow her. No matter where she is, no matter how she looks at them, and no matter how she tries to escape them. She sat at the north face for a time where there is no face, but somehow she could still feel the southern gaze of ash boring into her back. I'm not entirely sure what you want from me here. Well, that's not a complete truth, is it? You want me to stop. You always want me to stop. Everybody wants the druids to stop. They don't realize what a gift it is. No, I understand. But I don't understand. Ash. Now you're being unreasonable. Well, I need you to understand. Harrow the Martyr Catcher is a legend among the druids. All of our sects and factions all respect Harrow. The fact that I would have used his essence, that I was once imbued with his essence in the first place, and used it not only to help you escape, well, maybe that's exactly what this is. I used him to help you escape. The most revered of our order. Does this mean I revere the Nameless Legion? You know, we'd heard so many stories of the Nameless Legion, and we knew of the Alliance. I couldn't help but respect them. The story of Torlanis, in particular, was one that stayed with me. It indicated a man of strength, of power. I told you of the naming tree many days ago. Torlanis was the nameless knight that gave the forest a name. He marched right up to it, that gnarled trunk, wider than 100 men, stretched out to arm. Knowing who he was, he carved the name upon it. The name took. It was not erased the next day. Torlanis of the Nameless Legion named the forest. A crux druid by the name of Willow stripped the bark from the tree where the name had been carved. We don't tell the story. We do not admit that a nameless was able to name the forest. Maybe that's why I respect. If I was to follow anyone, I suppose it could be you. Suppose. No. No, that is wrong. I see your pride. I see what you are trying to hide. I see the way that you are trying to twist my mind into making me think that you are somehow better, that you deserve more than the trees. No, I see this. I see this. You would attempt to use me, as they all would. No. I see you, Ash of the Nameless. I see you, Little Mouse, and I see you, Roaring Wolf. No. I will not be dragged into that. You will see. You will see. I'm going to try and clear the life force of the first Crux Druid, Harrow the Martyr Catcher.
Oh, I like it. Yeah. Fantastic. I'll come collect the clues from these mate camps in a moment, but I do want to check in with Ash of the Nameless. I'm going to fast forward a little bit, Ash, unless there's something you want to do with Nocturnus's body or something, but otherwise we can keep going.
No, leave him.
Leave him to rot in the Whitewood forest. Let the Whitewoods have him. You're welcomed back into the undead commune, and they take all of the White Sap drinkers into the sort of like central hall, that sort of heart of the commune building that we talked about before. And they begin making a plan to like reincorporate them back into the community, tend to their needs. These undead really look after each other, right? There's a great irony in it, I suppose, since they're all dead. Hudson is so pleased that you even took up the mission, but especially that you were successful, that he has built a lean-to for you so you don't have to share space with Mercer anymore, unless you just want to. And so you have your own little space. They're going to have a meeting, or kind of like a little kind of fellowship gathering this evening if you want to join them. They're going to do their best to find something to light on fire for you, because they know that you would like that, even though they don't need fire themselves. And you must make camp because of everyone else making camp. And so I guess I'd just like to know, like, are you going to do your ritual to get the benefits of it?
I will. I'm going to... Once I name the two that I must name, can I then immediately try and get more knights?
Of course.
All right. Ash is grateful, and he settles toward his lean-to. He is trying not to hold on to his chest, but his breath comes a bit heavier, and Rowan is at his elbow, waiting to see if he needs support. The other two knights, the spectral ones that had been summoned earlier, that have yet to receive names, cross in front of him just before he enters in. He says, right. You, and he looks at the one that did not help. I'm Nara the Unyielding. I name you Nara the Unyielding and release you from your burdens. The other waits, and Ash looks to them. Again, their features barely formed, but they look younger than he would expect, and he thinks he now looks at one of the unproven. I see. A task for you first, should you not mind. And he just, as he enters into the lean-to, begins to peel his armor away, the weight of it, as metal clanks against metal and latches release. It does not fall into a heap. He places each piece with care. If you would tend to my armor, at the dawn I will release you. And he sits, and the knight, the unproven, nods and settles down. And it is soundless, but evident the work that he does as the metal begins to shape under his careful work. And Ash looks at the fire before him. The small, but still full of meaning, fire. Of the nameless I am. Of the nameless I remain. Our hearts shall not be sundered. Our eyes shall not be turned. Our hands move with justice. for the land under our care aspires to peace. We will not leave the suffering, and we will treat those guilty with mercy, but an end. And he repeats that over and over, staring into this fire. And Rowan and Malin join in. This soft echo through the night. And I would like to clear Nocturne Heart as Ash then begins to retch and cough. Just, until he spits up this long black tendril.
Fantastic. The one spectral knight that is still active, were you using them to unmark your armor as well, or?
Yes, so I'm using the mend equipment so that I can unmark one aspect on the armor, which is a suit of burnished steel.
Let's get these clues gathered up, shall we? So, what did Periwinkle mutter in the boat on the way to Elegy?
I think Periwinkle sung a children's rhyme called Berin the Bold and told a tale of a farmhand who challenged the branch-torn knight, and the ultimate part of it, the clue was that they were too slow. They were brave, but too slow.
Fantastic. Go ahead and note that under the branch-torn knight. Theia, what did you find in the ruins of Castle Bregan?
I think as Theia has finished speaking to Redrigar and singing that song, she's toying with the Wolf King's coda, her knife. The knife that's imbued with the same song that she sang. And as she's toying with it, she catches for a moment the reflection of Blue Elsain in its blade. It looks strange. And she glances up at him and realizes he looks different. The blue moon is turning so that its dark face is visible.
Fantastic. Please move your marker one step closer to Blue Elsain, please. Calyxe, what did you find under the gaze of the three faces?
As Calyxe was trying to hide from the gazes, her hands brushed against the north face. Carved on the north face is an obituary of sorts, a makeshift gravestone, a memorial to someone fallen and someone worthy. And it has clearly taken years to carve it into this strange stone. Someone with time has done so, and their memory is etched below the faces.
Interesting. What's the clue precisely?
The memorial itself, I was hoping it would be something for the branch-torn knight.
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay, and we can define it. We can define it when we get ready to answer the question. Got it.
Cool.
A worthy member scratched a memorial onto the three faces. Yeah, that's good. Or a worthy challenger. Go ahead and note that, please. Ash, you have to roll some dice for me because you are making camp in an unsafe place. Did you want to go ahead and summon some spectral knights first in case this goes really badly?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and please do that. Roll Cinder.
Oh, God.
What'd you get?
It's a 7 minus 1, so it's a 6.
Oh, no. I'll let you see how many knights you're going to have to automatically get rid of before you decide to bump up the roll. So go ahead and roll a single die.
5.
Do you want to stoke the fire?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so funny. I was like, oh, I haven't stoked the fire in a while. I have 2.
Now it's twice, yeah. You can keep that 5 though for your roll, and so you have 4 active knights, one of which or 5, but one has to be named right away. Let's talk about the move here. You're making camp. What are you afraid is going to happen if you let your guard down?
I am afraid that with my armor off, if something does come for us, I will be ill prepared.
Yeah, it's worse than that, isn't it? I think it's worse than that. I think the undead commune will be destroyed by a sneak attack by the Luminians. Go ahead and roll with Cinder. Your Cinder ability is getting a lot of work out today.
Okay, it's 8.
Okay. Everything goes fine, but I think something will be following you as before. I'll make a note of that. Otherwise, everything passes fine. The next morning, it's still quite dreary and gray and fog-choked, but it is whatever constitutes the morning. Theia arrives at the undead commune. We can fast forward to all the pleasantries. They'll raise the gate and let Theia in, and the two of you will be together. Calyxe, you will arrive finally at Castle Brynwild. But before you get there, a couple of things. First, at one point, you see a white stag standing between 2 large oak trees. Its antlers look like they're kind of framing or embracing the sun. For a breath, it holds your gaze and all the world is still, and then it darts off. At another point, you're inside a clearing. You can see Castle Brynwild in the distance. When you hear, "Hello there."
Can I see anyone?
Stepping into the clearing is a man wearing a kind of green rough-spun robe, kind of tattered, barefoot, bald, and his hands and neck and face and skull or head are covered in tattoos of green scales, scale tattoos. "I am the scale-blessed pilgrim, a green ember."
A green ember, you say?
"Yes, it has been my habit to call such as you a false ember, but I've learned that is perhaps not the best foot to get off on with someone. And so I shall simply address you as Dying Ember. How go your journeys to the throne of the Hidden King?"
Huh. In all this time, I had quite forgotten that would be the final destination. We have been busy, you see. Helping.
Well, I regret to inform you that it matters not, for there is no fire to rekindle at your throne. The old fire has been reborn in the great dragon. And I am an ember of that great green fire. Surely you have seen it. You have seen the evidence of Noxiliax the Great here in this forest. Surely you have felt his power.
I have felt something, but I would not deign to call it power.
Well, some are blind to it, this is true. But you are, even now, standing within a sight of green grace. Let me show you. And he kind of points at some of the trees.
See how the sun rises just there over the tree line, and how the shadows stretch. Yes, there it is. And you can see that the shadows of the trees are making the shape of them is like wings. He holds up his own hand, and the shadow of his hand looks like unfurling wings. Even your own shadow has taken on the aspect of the new fire. Do you still question its power?
Calyxe will look to her shadow. Does it unfurl
Yes,
like wings?
It looks like wings.
I do not see wings, green ember.
Do you not?
No. I see branches growing. I see roots spreading. It must just be you that sees it this way. What a shame.
I want the light move. What do you think is going to happen right now if you lose your nerve, lose the argument, lose?
That little spiral of doubt that Calyxe found herself in yesterday when under the eyes of Ash is going to widen and deepen within her, and the doubt is going to grow.
Interesting. Go ahead and roll with composure.
Okay. Ooh. So it's 10.
Tell you what, if you bump that up by stoking the fire and make it a 12, as your bonus, I'll give you a Lord clue.
Yeah. Deal.
Very good. Go ahead and stoke the fire, and you will get a Lord clue from the perfect delivery mechanism, the Scale Blessed Pilgrim. We'll come back to this, though. Sister Nor meets you at the shrine, Fenwyn. She says, "There, you see. A little bit of piety never hurt anyone." And that's when she gives you the Staff of Elgareth. No one needs such things here. Perhaps you can make some use of it out in the lands. I have cleared an alcove for you. And she kind of leads you up the staircase. I've cleared an alcove for you in case you want to set up your own shrine, should we need to remember you someday. I'm sure there will be many embers to follow, assuming, as I expect, that none shall reach the throne of the Hidden King before then. And you have the ability in this alcove to establish your own shrine. In order to do so, you just have to mark an aspect, and the rest of us will create a fire prompt for you to use in the future, should you need it, inspired by that aspect.
I'm 100% going to do that. I'm going to mark the aspect on my traveling cloak, which says dozens of small pockets for hiding things.
Now we each have to come up with a flashback related to that somehow. Any thoughts?
I'm wondering if it's like something to do with a time Fenwyn hid something.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
He was duty bound to hand over.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's really good.
I like that.
Narrate a flashback to a time when you hid something you were duty bound.
I mean, I do have something very specific that I'm duty bound to probably have handed over. Could it be something to do with that? My royal...
Well, it's up to you whenever you mark it, but yeah. But I like that as the question, if there's no objections. Narrate a flashback to a time when you hid something you were duty bound to hand over. While you're at your alcove, if you wish, you also can place one of your items or relics in it, and when you come back to the Morning Tower, it will have all of its aspects unmarked. But you may not have anything that needs it, I'm not sure. Sister Nor will then say, "Before you head back into the gloom, you ought to meet with one of the supplicants." It's starting to It's starting to get a little more full here than I would like. This vast tower, there's like 5 people in it, right? You have the option of consulting. You should consult with one supplicant. It can be either Vera, or it can be Periwinkle, who is now settled, or at least getting settled. You get to consult one of them. I'll remind you what they each do, because they each have their own little advantages. Vera, if I recall correctly, let's read it here. If you consult with Vera, you get an extra clue when you ask her about matters related to assassins, the dead, or secret orders, even on a miss. And if you choose to instead consult with Periwinkle, you get an extra clue when you consult him about matters of courtly intrigue, beauty, or fey etiquette, even on a miss.
Do we think that courtly intrigue would extend to the Branchthorn Knight?
It sure would.
Yeah. And given that he was sleep singing that children's rhyme, I wonder whether kind of misleading Periwinkle into thinking I'm interested in his childhood and learning more about his experiences, knowing these songs of the Branchthorn Knight, that he might elaborate on them further.
Indeed. Do we want to answer the threshold question for the Whitewood?
I feel like we should.
Yeah.
The question says, how is the Silvercut Lodge accessed? It's complexity 2, fairly easy. You have 5 clues currently. Knowing your way by knowing yourself. The Whitewood trees first appeared under the blue moon. You can see the lodge most clearly when the blue moon is brightest. That seems like the best clue. A powerful smell of quicksilver, that could be helpful also. And blue Elsaine is turning to show its hidden face. What do we think?
So the Whitewood is made up of birch trees.
That's they look like birch trees, yeah.
They look like birch trees.
Mm-hmm.
The weird thing about birch trees is they look like they have eyes. So I feel like the Whitewood... Michelle, your face. Look up a birch tree. But I feel like the Whitewood trees themselves, because they appeared kind of under the blue moon, I feel like they are connected to the lodge in the sense that the lodge kind of uses them as sight down on the world itself. And so with knowing your way by knowing yourself, I think if you communicate to the trees in some way, it kind of grants you like an access pass. I'm still viewing them very much as aliens, is my problem. But I think there is some sort of access either... Wait. The sap makes you kind of forget who you are, doesn't it? It gives you an ease to your person.
Yes. Well, the undead, yeah.
So if you feed... Okay. Instead of taking from the tree, if you cut into the tree and feed some of yourself into the tree, then perhaps that grants you passage, like a teleport, to the lodge entrance. Which is how the... Don't mark my quotations. I'm thinking this through as the words are coming out of my mouth. But yeah, I think there is essentially, under the light of the blue moon, when the lodge is present and can be seen, if you feed some of yourself, your blood, your name, something of yourself to a whitewood tree, it will send you up to the lodge.
This is interesting because it implies that the Luminians put the Whitewoods here. It implies that they created this forest for the express purpose of raising people from the dead. because that's what happened. The Whitewoods sprung up and then the undead sprung up, right? So that's really interesting. I don't think it necessarily has any bearing on like how to get to the lodge, but it's really interesting context for all of this because they're snatching up undead people for their little experiment or whatever they're doing, and it looks like they kind of essentially set up their own like harvesting place.
Maybe the undead people are the experiment.
Well, yeah. Well. I mean, Rainya, and indeed the introduction to the mystery implies that they're doing something with the undead that will help them with the lumen prints, right? I don't know. It just has so many interesting implications because these undead were they were on a battlefield. They all died in a war, and then suddenly they're all raised from the dead because of these whitewood trees. And in your theory, the Luminians has something to do with all of it, which is really fascinating to me. But the matter at hand, yeah, I'm kind of into it. Does anybody have any other thoughts or?
My only thought is that Ash has been spending too much time with Calyxe.
We're all in the trees now. Herald of the speaking root. We're all speaking rooting it.
I'm an influencer, yay! Speaking of which, I think through the speaking route, if it was answered through that cinder, I think accessing it is. So bear with me. I think the Luminians are also maybe partially dead, but in a way that is a bit different to the way that these undead have been raised. And I think that's how we access the lodge in a way. I think it only accepts those that are dead in this very specific format.
Or the dead or dying, because from
Rainya... Dying, that's it. And so the lodge will only appear under the blue moon. So we've got Blue Alcyene being the more empathetic, more pitiable sort of element, like takes pity on the dying and allows them access to the lodge. And I think the way that we access it, I think it has to do with the powerful smell of quicksilver, because quicksilver is also mercury. And I think people are dying of mercury poisoning and accessing the lodge and then purging themselves of the mercury afterwards if they're able to leave the lodge. I think maybe that's how the Luminians are doing it. But it could be sort of to induce a sort of semi-state of dying to access the lodge. The lodge recognizes that you're ready to be taken up. The undead are already dead. They already register. So something like that maybe. And knowing that you are dying allows you access to the lodge, so you have to knowingly take something like that. That's a very, very loose theory.
I mean, whether it's true or not, I think it actually doesn't like take away from just the basic possibility that it's simply got something to do with the trees and the blue moon. And I do like it though. I like this idea of like the Luminians themselves are in this like halfway state, which is interesting. Because it makes me wonder what the Lumen Prince's deal is, right? But I guess we don't have to know that yet. But let's take a look at our clues. So knowing your way by knowing yourself. It sounds like the clues that we're kind of really focused on here is the most obvious one is the blue moon in the sky, and that's when the lodge appears. The whitewood trees connected to the blue moon is plainly very important. Were we trying to say that like knowing your way by knowing yourself?
Is it knowing that you're dying?
That's interesting.
If the dead or dying go up there, then
yeah,
by knowing that your time is imminent, maybe that's something to do with it.
What if the Luminians brought these undead back or made them undead, thinking that the undead would eventually just go to the lodge themselves? But because they've created this life for themselves, they've almost like rejected their undeadness as much as they're able to, or they've rejected their deadness, and so
the Luminians aren't necessarily harvesting; they're just going to nudge them on their way.
The process. Yeah. It's like, come on, let's go. Yeah,
it was meant to be natural, but something like the instructions were lost in translation. Okay.
Is it almost like an acceptance of your fate is needed to go there? Like the undead want to keep living.
Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah. And so they kind of just thought the undead were going to just like come on their own, but they didn't. So now they're having to go down and catch them, which is pretty great.
It's sort of like the good place after the good place. Like you are there forever or until you're ready to move on. And these guys have found a community of brothers in arms or whatever, and they want to stay. Yeah,
it's really kind of poetic, right? Like they're like, we're okay. we've sorted it. We're doing okay, and so they never go to the lodge, like the Luminians intended. That's a +1, unless we want to like add anything else to it or mark any aspects for extra clues. Who wants to roll it?
I've had literally nothing to do with this mystery whatsoever, so I'll happily not.
I feel like it should be Ash or Calyxe. You're the ones who have been there.
Please no, I have been rolling so poorly on everything I've tried to do today. Maybe this is the time. Full send it.
Okay, in which case, yeah, Calyxe will roll it if you want to save it, or because how many nights have you got left? Oh no, you can't even bump it with night.
I've got plenty of nights. That's not the issue.
Okay. If I roll a 5, now I'm never rolling again. I need you to know this.
Perfect opportunity to mark the speaking root. I mean, you know.
I will mark the speaking root, and then I will use the kindling gate to immediately unmark the speaking root.
Oh, you only need to mark it if you need to bump up the roll. You might not need to bump up the roll.
Oh, right. Okay. Let's
just see what you got.
I'm feeling it. I think we can do this.
Okay. I believe in you.
It is a 5.
You can make it correct by, if you wish to mark your cinder now, Calyxe. We've already kind of done it for you, interpreting this through the speaking root. What does the actual speaking root philosophy say?
The speaking root, the land reveals truth only when fed suffering.
Okay, so that's perfect, right? So instead, I think you actually have to drink the white sap.
Again? Sure. Done.
I think you have to actually drink the white sap in order to go up. But
yeah, you have to experience that knowledge of what warmth was, and knowing that you'll never have it again. Oh, that's terrible and wonderful. All right, kindling gate is fully unmarked, and that
then
is
you can
answered.
immediately unmark the cinder too.
Done.
All right, so you had a 7 and 9. You, I'm not going to put any further complication. It's enough that you got it correct. And the next question is now available. What does the Silvercut Company need from the undead to keep the restless Lumen Prince asleep? So this is the big why, right? It's complexity 6, opportunity, resolve the mystery by immediately engaging in a struggle to perform a ritual to put the restless Lumen Prince back to sleep. So that is what awaits you in the lodge. Let's check in quickly with the Scale Blessed Pilgrim and our branch pilgrim, our tree pilgrim. Your theory is interesting, if utterly incorrect. Dying Ember. Let me show you the power of the Lord. Even in the dragon's refuse, it thrums. And he shows you a green dragon scale. He says, this scale responds to vows spoken to it. The vow I make is to carry the power of the great green fire to the 4 corners of the lands remaining. And indeed, the scale begins to glow green and pulsate as it receives the vow. And this is your Lord Clue. The Lord Clue is a draconic scale that grows warm when a vow is spoken aloud. And we'll pick up with you next time. We're going to wrap up with Fenwyn chatting with Periwinkle. I think when you find Periwinkle, you know, he went off with Sister Shayna, who had something for him, right? And indeed, You find him in a sort of like little sort of like side chamber in the tower. He's twirling around in a gauzy pearl pink robe that kind of shimmers in the candlelight. He kind of swirls and spins, and this robe flows around him, and he says, "Fenwyn, what do you think? Do you like it? Sister Shayna said it suited my complexion," whatever that means. "Honestly, it's a miracle they found anything decent in this mausoleum. Do try to look appreciative. One must encourage taste where one can."
I think Fenwyn encourages him to give him a spin, I think.
He does indeed, yes. So this is my life now, I suppose.
It's a life of quiet, comfort, and safety, most importantly.
It's not too late to take me with you to the old capital.
I fear you may be slightly less safe there.
Can I have just one more kiss, Fenwyn?
And I think that Fenwyn leans in and then puts his finger against Periwinkle's lips and says, "Now, remember what we said about spoiling a good thing? Let's not." And I think Periwinkle will notice as well that behind Fenwyn's kind of small eyeglasses, his eyes are almost, they are completely kind of clouded over.
He'll say, What happened to your eyes? Is that bloom rot?"
It's penance. And it will pass.
So, the Rose Maiden, Lady Kendwin, she is gone then?
Gone, but well remembered.
Where shall you go once you're done? Here on Elegy? Where is your next stop on your journey to do battle with the Dimning?
I have more pressing matters of the heart to attend to first.
Oh, tell me more. And here's where we can get into the information move.
And I think that Fenwyn starts humming the tune that Periwinkle was kind of but kind of sleep singing. And I think that he's going to try and kind of distract him like a kid with some keys and try and get him to kind of, just kind of chase a different train of thought.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. What's your question to him?
I think it might just be, I'm actually going to ask Periwinkle if he considers himself brave enough to face the Branch-Torn Knight.
I'm going to have you roll the information move with Cinder. For reasons I'm not yet going to tell you, the Cinder, the kindly old man, he who is unseen can still see, is in play. Because that's in play, your condition is also in play, the bloom blindness. You're going to roll at disadvantage with minus... What is your Cinder?
It's -1. I feel good about it, don't worry. So close, it was a 6.
I owe you a clue. Because even on a miss, you get a clue. He is about to speak to you, to tell you perhaps what you want to know. And he says, he kind of stops himself and he says, I have to say, I didn't want to come to this place at first. But I guess now I'm quite glad I have. Family is just sort of sometimes it's what you find, it's what you make of it. Sister Shayna seems nice, and well, there's a promise of you coming back to visit me periodically. I gather that there are people out there even working on a cure for bloom rot. Things are looking up. And that's when his throat explodes as a long blade pierces it from behind. And Mortis steps into the light. Hello, Abomination. And we'll end our session there. And so, give you all a moment to recover. Let's go to end of session. Okay, if we have any moves that trigger at the end of session, go ahead and trigger those. I don't think we do, though. In which case, let's go to our end of session questions. I'm going to go in reverse order again. Fenwyn. No one's getting credit for the first question of resolving a mystery, but Fenwyn, did you roll a cinder? Yes, you did just now.
I did, yep.
Did you slip past an enemy when fighting them was an option?
I did not.
Did you relate a situation to the story of the mouse in the tower?
Yeah, sort of abstractly on the boat with Periwinkle and the memory.
Yeah, Sister Nor kind of brought it up, even though you took Sister Nor's bait, if nothing else. So I guess that you can take that XP. So you got 2 Calyxe of the Verdant Crucible. Did you roll a cinder?
I answered a question. So yes? No.
No, that's no.
No, I didn't. I didn't roll with cinder.
Blues,
I couldn't remember.
Did you demonstrate reverence for root, stone, or soil over law, crown, or creed?
Yes, I denounced following Ash.
Well, the Scaleless and Pilgrim too, yeah.
Yes.
Denouncing the Noxiliax's crown. Did you give a wild-eyed monologue about how the land is speaking to you even now?
Yeah, when having a chat with the 3 faces.
Indeed. Go ahead and take your 2 XP. Theia, the waxing tone. Did you roll a cinder?
No, I don't think I have this whole campaign.
Did you perform publicly or intimately in a way that shifted the balance of power?
I sang to Regard to try and make him not be mad at me anymore.
I'm into it. Yeah, I'm into it. Did you spill blood instead of using voice, wit, or song?
No.
You got 1 XP. Ash. You did roll a cinder, Ash. Did you act in accordance with your vows, even when it cost you something precious?
I don't think it cost me something precious.
Did you hear the echo of the Legion in your deeds or words?
Yes, during my ritual.
Indeed. You got 2 XP. Quite a lot of fire stoking happening in this session, so be preparing your fire prompts for next time, those of you who did. And we'll just go straight to stars and wishes, and I'll just say, Star, what a session. That was amazing. So great. That's it for now. I got more later, but that's what I got right now. This is incredible.
I'm gonna put a trigger warning in for me being sincere. Okay, so like fucking brace yourselves. But I'm so lucky to be playing with you 4 pricks. I'm not it's just I just get to listen to you all, and then occasionally I get to do something, and it's just I just fucking love it. Like this was a session that I'm calling the soliloquy session, right? Where like none of us were in the same location except for like very briefly. Ash and Theia were together, and everyone's scenes just sang. Like they were poetic, they were lyrical, they had such like depth of character and emotion. Everyone's prompts was just absolutely pinpoint nailed, like every single one of them. And when, like Jason said in the Discord just before we started this, like this was going to be a world building session, and it all happened through us. It wasn't like we were sitting around saying, what's this place like in the abstract. We were out there in the world, living in it, relating to it, reacting to it, and having it react to us, and painting it in such like vivid detail. And this is where the sincerity is about to end, everybody. It's like a privilege to listen to and like be part of. So thank you. I will now recede back into my normal persona. Ugh. They reminded me of, I'm just going to like pull a media wreck that has nothing to do with what we're doing, but it just reminded me of an episode of Deadwood. Because in Deadwood, you get these episodes where there's just characters off doing things and they're talking to themselves, or they're talking to a blood stain on the floor, or a decapitated head in a box. And you're like, what are they actually doing? And they're speaking the world through this scene. And like, you all do it so beautifully. And like, it's just so hard to pick out any individual stars in all of that, because every single time someone spoke into the mic, it had weight, relevance, and like meaning and power, and that's just like an extraordinary feat. So thank you very much. Also, star for the greatest reaction of all time when Jess realized we were doing her mystery.
Yeah, everything that Matt said. No, I'll be serious. That was delightful. And I do mimic what Matt says. That it's really kind of amazing that we get to play together and that I get to play with you guys, because the way in which you guys build story is the way in which I aspire to build story. And I love that we found each other. I love that Matt has brought us all together, and that we are always all on board to go a little bit more, a little bit extra, to dig in and find the details and pull them out of everyone's story and link them into this main narrative we're building, and to get those details so deliciously out there. You wouldn't think this is improvised. It's just so good. In particular, Wren, when I think the first thing that Ash said was to the Luminian Ryania, when he said, "I wouldn't expect you to be lost." What a fucking line. It was so good. It was so Ash. It was I think a lot of us I would have approached the Luminians with just fear and maybe gone in with an attack instantly, and you just went up with calm, concise knowledge and facts, and didn't. That was it. And it was such a perfect opening line for everything. I loved that. Also incorporating the orrery back into the scene with the Grand Mage, as in from like the between. And I love an orrery. The way you described it, the way you described that silence, that moment of everything stopping, building it so perfectly into Matt Cinder. It was wonderful. That was loved it. Michelle, your songs, 2 songs, truly blessed, but also within those songs, the lore that you are laying out, and then beyond that as well, these little drops that you and Romulo were lovers, and just these tiny, delicious little details of the life that they had before. The clue that you gave about Blue Al-Sayin being reflected in the knife, all of it linking back. It is just delicious to hear you speak and the thing that come out be so perfect. Again, like it's been written, like it's been rehearsed 100 times. But no, you're just coming off with it off the top of your noggin. Can't believe it. Matt, I can't get over how confident you sound every single time you open your mouth as Fenwyn. He doesn't put a foot wrong. He can't put a foot wrong. Even when he's approaching with Periwinkle in particular, that softness to him, coming up with the idea that he's speaking in his sleep. That's where the clue is coming from. It's so genuine and so understanding of what Periwinkle is as a side character. And then to even like to comfort him, to go find him within the Morning Tower, to have again that scene of intimacy and that kindness, and to really play into the bloom rot behind the eyes before he's murdered viciously in front of you. You set everything up. Everything is a stage. You're waiting for the next act, and everything is just, you tee it up gorgeously. It's Jason, I'm having such a nice time. It's hard. Yeah, I can't put it into words how much I really, really fuck with the lands remaining. I fuck with it hard. I'll beef with it hard. I love it so much. I can't tell you. It is everything I want in a game. It is giving me everything I want. The players that we have are giving me everything. I don't know. I told you, like, I think the first time we played The Between, I was like, this is scratching an itch in my brain. Public Access did the same thing. My brain's on the floor and is getting a good old scratch. Like, it is my game. I love this game. So yeah. Thank you for doing the Umberslade. I realize now I should have put way more countdown timers on that. Now that I realize how like countdowns properly sort of like. So but yeah, thank you so much.
Let me go for real before another Brit has to display an American level of earnestness. I'll rescue you from that. Gosh, what a session. I think this was like, they've all been great, but I think this was my favorite so far. It was just so what I want this game to be doing. Like, I want this game to be doing a really particular, type of like lore exploration and world building, and like Matt said, like doing it through the lens of the characters moving through the world. And it's just so great. It's kind of like, really, I'm thinking back to TLR Pod. I was just QCing an episode today. That's why it's in my brain. But like, thinking back to the conversations that I had about like my design goals for this game, and like, I just feel like we're really hitting it. Obviously it helps that you're all such amazing role players, but even like, but knowing that though, I can still kind of see what the game is doing, and that makes me really happy. Like that the synergy there is just so great. It pleases me a lot. Individual stars, I can't get enough of the songs, Michelle. It's so great. And like Jess said, I picked up on when you were like weaving the lore into things, and even like when you worked in the Gilvan the Vine Twine thing, I was like, oh, that's a clever touch, right? Like it really like kind of pulls in like everything. And what I find interesting about the Howling Troubadour as an Ember is my read of the Ember was this character is one of two things. Either they come from a time that is even more ancient than the time of the Old Fire, because their backstory makes reference to things that like are completely that feel like really distinct and unique in the world. They don't even talk about the Dimning. The Dimning's not even part of the Howling Troubadour's story, right? Or this character was essentially like a demigod before, even before the Dimning, right? And so, and we're definitely getting that glimpse of that. Like we're seeing Theia as this like character who is more than just a minstrel, more than just a bard. Like they were like, she was this significant in the cosmology of at least of the Howling Troubadour's faith, at least. And so that is really, really fascinating. I just love how you're doing it. And it just adds so much texture to the world, and it's amazing. Wren, I just really love, for whatever reason, 3 campaigns now, Wren, you are still my favorite player to like put in like immediate danger and to give you just like the most annoying side characters to interact with. it's like just one of my singular joys. And because you always give me back like just a great moment. And I know you're going to do like something really reflective in the middle of it. And so I'm going to get this like nice tonal push pull, which I think is really great. Like, so just everything we did today was really, really fun. It was nice having one Ember who was not like in the safe journey, right? Like who was like out in the wilderness still kind of dealing with problems. And I continue to love how you're building this constantly layering on this ceremony, and this sense of ceremony, and this sense of like, I don't know, just this weight of the Nameless Legion. Like you're just constantly like adding to it, and it's just so great. Yeah, Matt, Fenwyn was great. Love everything you did with Periwinkle. I really love that you set me up to kill Periwinkle at the end. You didn't know I was going to do that, but I knew I was going to do that. And I was like, oh, good. Matt's playing right into my hands. Let's make this as sweet as possible. Because I also knew Mortis was in the tower, right? I was hoping you all had kind of forgotten about Mortis. I thought everything you did today was so great. Love the idea of like you kind of made like an executive decision to like just say that Periwinkle was in the Pale Crossing with you, and I thought that was great. You know, I think in another game, a player would have been like hesitant to like say something like that, to be like, oh, this NPC's in the boat with me, right? But I love that like in this game you can do that, and I like that you took the liberty to do that. I thought it was really great. It really changed the whole nature of what was going on. Yeah, and Jess, you're sort of like, I really love these like philosophical arguments you get into with characters, right? Like it was Sister Isha, for you know, at one point, and now with the Scale Blessed Pilgrim, because your character is so soaked in religion and ritual, and like, and probably of all the Embers, the one who probably like cares the most about taking over and ruling everything. Like that it's fun to like it's fun to interact with you, like with characters, to like have those sort of like more higher level arguments about the world, and you just do it so great. And just a star again for everybody. Everyone's flashbacks and narrations were just so on point. The session was pitch perfect. It was so great.
I agree, y'all are good at this. But I think what's really lovely about playing with all of you is that it's not just the big sweeping dramatic moments. Like everyone just brings like tiny moments that like just really resonate. Like Wren, in when you were doing your ritual and you were kind of, the Ash was doing this incantation, and you painted this picture of the two of the Legion joining in, and like just that image of this knight incanting and the two ghostly knights on either side joining and their voices echoing was just so beautiful, and I don't know, heartbreaking in a strange way. The themes of like death and moving on, like just being so woven in that moment, was just so touching. And it was such a little moment, but it spoke so much. I just loved that. Similarly, Matt, when Fenwyn said the bloom blindness was penance, like I was like, knife heart, oh my god, like it was just like, again, like a few words that just spoke volumes about where Fenwyn is mentally, and like just genuinely made me nearly tear up. Like it was just like, no, Fenwyn, no, buddy. It was really gorgeous. And oh my god, Jess, that the speech in Castle Bregan was so powerful. Like not just what you said, but like how you performed it was genuinely like, put that in one of those YouTube compilations, like best motivational speeches, like Aragorn at the gates of Mordor level, like rousing speech. Like it was so powerful. I was just
I was moved. I was like, yeah, hell yeah, like yes, I'm ready to defend like, Castle Bregan with my life. Let's do it.
Yeah, you all just like brought me to such like an emotionally unstable place today. Thank you for that. And Jason, on another note, I fear I may have unlocked something by saying I love when you play sassy little bitches, because we were just drowning in them today. But I genuinely love the way that you bring characters to life, and they're all so specific and unique and memorable in the way you bring them to us, without us really having to spend that much time with them. They say a sentence and I'm immediately like, I know who this guy is and I love him, and also he may have to get nailed to a tree. Both those things can be true. Like I just this sweeping epic dark land that's just filled with silly little guys is such a joy to explore, and I love meeting the silly little guys that you bring to us, Jason. They're all so good, and I can't believe you killed one of our silly little guys. I'm livid. The star for that also. What a way to end the session. Oh.
There's no way to express. I'll start with Jason. There is this incredible way that you manage to give complications that I want to get, knowing that it will possibly derail the entire session for me, and still being like, yeah, no, this is great. No, I love the way that the it makes you kind of want to play to fail sometimes, even knowing that there's always these things that you can do and that you won't die and it's not going to be that bad. It's just sometimes you just want the complication, the failure, because it's fun that way, and it creates even a more interesting story than maybe what you had thought you were gonna do. So thank you for that, even though you do aspire to put me in danger. I don't know why. Jess, again, the speeches that you did today, also the reflection point in the three faces and having it be the three of us, just having that back and forth with these still unmoving versions of us, that is just showing how much Calyxe is influenced by us in the time that she's known us, is great to see and to like dig into what that means for her, knowing that the Order greatly disapproves of the choices that she's been making. Matt, the relationship with Periwinkle and how the distance wasn't there, it was still like a back and forth, and like the interaction with the sisters in the Morning Tower, everything made sense in how Fenwyn's story is going, and just that brutal ending for Periwinkle right in front of you. I did not forget that Mortis was in the tower. I was hoping that Vera would have taken care of him, but that apparently can't happen. I'm just so interested with what knowledge we have of like Fenwyn's like heart and position, just what that means, knowing that he has taken the Bloom blindness as penance, what penance he might reap from letting Periwinkle die in this way. And then Theia, God, just when you were speaking, or singing rather, to Redregar, just there's something so like moving and emotional, just having someone singing to the moon. Knowing the relationship that Theia has is very different to what anyone else might have. Just asking the moon itself to forgive you for actions that you might not necessarily think were wrong, but just wanting to pull something back. The troubadour, again, it's because it's very different to the others in terms of like the history and the backstory and the fact that you're choosing to sing all of it. I am honestly feeling like it's going to devastate me, whatever happens to Theia in these fires. Yeah, I'm just very invested in watching the story of this unfold in my mind's eye. Because it's like I play it back and I don't see us at the table. I see the story happening in the lands remaining. And it's weird trying to explain a movie that only happens in my head to anyone else.
Fantastic. Starter Fiona, welcome back.
Starter Fiona.
Also, like last star for everyone for saying Castle Bragan the same way.
Yes, we
crushed it, guys.
Yep.
Only took so many episodes.